You have 2 wives.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
First of all, I feel like it's hard having one wife.
It is.
Is that emotionally draining at all to be responsible to cover 2 women?
No, man. We're in love. We have a beautiful future that we're building together. I couldn't be happier.
How did you come to have 2 wives, and did you always believe in polygamy?
No. I recently studied polygamy, or say about 4 or 5 years ago when I was beginning to practice.
What made you research polygamy?
I was researching our culture, actually. And so I learned that practice of polygamy was better for our village and spreading and growing back then.
Okay.
And so I can see a lot of benefits to practicing polygamy. Number one, it's more bodies, it's more people. Survive better together. With multiple people working together with the same goal in mind, you can accomplish it easier.
So if you get into argument with one, do you carry that same energy over to the other? Or it's like, no, I'm mad at you right now, but now I'm still cool with you? Or does it just like cross over?
Oh, I'm carrying that energy. I'm totally kidding. No, not at all. You have to be real good at managing your energy. Absolutely. You can't take one energy from one to another.
If you're mad at one, are you talking about that one to the other?
Never. No.
Come on.
No, that's a sacred relationship.
On my nerves right
no, not at all. I go and I fake it and act like ain't nothing going on.
Peace, family, and welcome back to another episode of It's Negotiable. I am your co-host, Ernestine V. Morrison.
And I'm your co-host, Amber Ty.
And you already know, if you are part of the It's Negotiable family, what we talk about on this podcast, setting boundaries with people, places, and things that do not serve God's purpose for your life. But because of your obedience, some things may actually be negotiable. And today we have a very special guest. Interesting perspective and ideology. He is a spiritual, what do you call it? On your page, you have it written. It's a spiritual advisor. You are a life coach.
Yes, ma'am.
You are a speaker and entrepreneur.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Kevin Wesley is in the building. Welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure, guys. Obviously, it is a honor to be on your show. And I hope to have a great build with you guys today.
It's going to be a great build indeed. So, Kevin, we asked, the first question we ask everybody is, what is something in your life that used to be non-negotiable, but now it's negotiable?
I guess I would say I used to have a one-track mind when it came to my personal beliefs. We all were raised with certain belief systems, you know. It was non-negotiable. You had to believe what I believed exactly how I believe it. But now I've learned that the world is a mighty large place, and we got to be accepting of how each other see the world. So God is all.
Oh, okay. So really what I'm hearing is like just flexibility and fluidity in the way
Yes,
you
ma'am.
think. Okay. You're really showing me like it's just the power of belief.
Yes, ma'am. And
What
I'm
do you
so
put-
sorry. I got to make sure because I got 2 wives and it could be an emergency. Second. I'm so sorry. Hello.
Wait a minute.
You know, because Lacey just had a baby and we couldn't get a breast pump at first, so we had to get one from this place, and they're trying to meet us to pick it back up. Okay.
You have 2 wives.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
First of all, I feel like it's hard having one wife.
It is.
Is that emotionally draining at all to be responsible to cover 2 women?
No, man. We're in love. We have a beautiful future that we're building together. I couldn't be happier.
How did you come to have 2 wives, and did you always believe in polygamy?
No. I recently studied polygamy, or say about 4 or 5 years ago when I was beginning to practice that. So I got married, first of all, when I was very, very young.
Okay.
Probably like 19 or 20 we got married.
Okay.
We stayed together for about 15 years, separated from there. And I was single for about maybe 4 or 5 years, and that's when I researched polygamy and all those types of things and how I'd like to do my next relationship.
What made you research polygamy?
I was researching our culture, actually, and so I learned that, you know, the practice of polygamy was better for our village and spreading and growing back then.
Okay.
And so I can see a lot of benefits to practicing polygamy. Number one, it's more bodies, it's more people. Survive better together. With multiple people working together with the same goal in mind, you can accomplish it easier. You know, so my wife, of course, we had 3 children together, and I felt like there's no person better to do that type of union with, other than with someone who I've already had children with. That'd be crazy to go out here.
Oh, so one of your wives is your original wife. The wife.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys were married, had 3 kids. You guys were both on this monogamous journey, and then how did you when you started studying polygamy and you decided this is the road you want to go down, was she immediately with it, or did you have to kind of convince her or show her the pros and cons of this new lifestyle change?
So I'm studying polygamy, and she actually, of course, she mothers my children. We are like best friends, so we talk about literally everything.
Yeah.
And so in talking about it, she liked the sound of it herself, so she would say, I think I might do that too. Now at this point, we're not talking about practicing polygamy together. I'm dating a few women, deciding how I want to be polygamous.
Okay.
What type of women I would be with, if our plan and goal works well together. Just vetting, making sure you're finding the right person.
Yeah.
I found out that dating isn't for me, okay? Because when you date multiple women, it just don't work out well. You can make promises all you want to about trying not to get serious during the dating process, but if they do get serious with you, you better be getting serious with them, or they're gonna attack you. So they started beating me up online and lying on me and stuff, and so I just decided that it's really not wise for me to continue trying to date in that way. So I said I gotta set myself down somewhere.
I've got so many questions. Okay, let's back up just a little bit.
Wait, he didn't answer the question.
Oh, he didn't? Okay,
well, your wife, when you decided to bring,
Right.
I introduced this new idea, and she was like, well, maybe I would like it, but you guys, it sounds like she was talking about more being open.
Well, no, she was saying that she was saying that if she ever were to get married again, she could see herself being poly, because she couldn't see herself giving herself solely to a one union again.
So immediately she was on board with it.
Well, with me, yeah, but she was saying that she was open to the concept moving forward, period. When I went through the thing where the women were lying on me online, I got very discouraged. I didn't want to date anymore, but there was one of the women I was dating, she was very understanding. She showed me maturity, and I knew then that she would be somebody who I practiced polygamy with. And then my wife, or my ex-wife, she called me, she encouraged me, and it just dawned on me, what am I doing? Why am I trying to build with somebody else other than someone who I know I can trust? And my wife Jamie and I, we've never had an issue. I actually left her. I didn't truly understand the meaning of marriage. I thought you're supposed to feel head over heels in love all the time. We got married super young. She got pregnant. I wanted to do the responsible thing, so we got married. After about 15 years, I asked to leave because I didn't feel like I was in love. You know what I mean? So I know that's irresponsible, because it's someone who you asked to marry you now essentially going to leave them, and they've given you their life, so to speak.
So you left.
I left
and came back.
And came back, yeah.
With another wife.
Okay, thank you for the
Well,
because I was confused.
You came back with another wife.
We all met before.
And she said,
we
everybody come on in to eat, dinner's ready on the table.
Well, so they officially met. I asked Jamie on the phone if she would consider doing poly with me, because she did say that she would be open to it. And she was excited to do that. And so I allowed, hooked it up so her and Lacey could officially meet each other. They met each other. They sent me a photo with them together. You know how girls take pictures. Just, I was blushing to get that photo, of course. And we planned a couple of dates and stuff like that to get more familiar with each other and all. And before you know it, we were one happy family.
And both of them just got along great.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we all get along great.
Okay, so she's being all fluffy. I want to get to the nitty gritty. So when I hear that, I think, this man wants to have his cake and eat it too.
Cool.
Yeah.
This man wants to have a big orgy.
Yeah.
This man is a free. These are all things that people, when they hear that, that's what they think. And I remember I was dating this guy, and he did not practice polygamy anymore, but he used to. So I had a lot of questions for him.
Yes,
and I'm like, so do y'all all sleep in the same bed? And he said, no. I said, so how does that work? He's like, well, one night I go over here, and one night, I was like, oh, no, sir. So how does that work in your household, if you don't mind me asking?
It's the same as it works for him. So believe it or not, it's not about sex. It's about the companionship and working together. I've never had a threesome in my entire life. Not once have I had a threesome. They're not into that. They're not into each other. So it's not, a big orgy type thing. They're both my wives. I dedicate my life to making sure they have all they need and protecting them. But we live in one big old house. I was telling you because I live where I lived earlier, but we found a big mansion there with a beautiful lake behind it. So life is like a vacation, and we all work together on our crafts to create our life.
But there's separate bedrooms.
Yes, each one of us have our own bedrooms. Absolutely.
Is there a schedule?
Yeah, I'm like, hell, is there a schedule?
There is a schedule.
See, now tell me about the schedule. So it's like Monday and Tuesday I'm over here. Wednesday and Thursday I'm over here?
Yeah, my schedule is hectic. Monday and Tuesday I spend with Jamie. Wednesday and Thursday I spend with Lacey. Friday and Saturday are my own days, but those nights I sleep with each one of them. Sunday.
I'm sorry, rewind. The Friday and Saturday night you sleep with each one of them?
Well, say like on Saturday night I'll sleep with Jamie. Friday night I'll sleep with Jamie, and then on Saturday night I'll sleep with Lacey.
And what if you break the schedule?
I don't break my schedule. I don't break the schedule.
And then on Sundays, what?
I have to get up at like 4 or 5 in the morning and transition.
Okay, this seems like a lot.
It's hard on me. I know. Lisa, I know you guys are thinking that I'm winning here, but
now
no,
you have a marriage schedule,
right?
And the women, do they ever feel like they're competing with each other, or like fighting for your time? Are you fighting for your emotion or love?
No, and that's why I make sure not to break schedule. I don't want that happening. It'd be easy to happen, especially if you got 3 people who's never practiced polygamy at all, and all they've known was monogamy. Mm-hmm. I'll say I've been probably the biggest issue because I feel guilty. Where we all full well understand what we did, but I still do feel guilty. So I'll often check with them. Are you okay? You good? I promise I'm good. Why are you tripping? So it mainly just be me in my head.
Because I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to share. I just don't. I want you with me every night. Mm-hmm. And I was looking at your Instagram, and I saw one wife. To me, it looked like one wife in particular stood out. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, maybe it's because they just had a baby. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, no, I'm not taking. I don't want to be second. So how do they not feel that way? How do they not?
Are they both first, or is one the head wife and then there's the second wife? Or
there's no first or seconds. We are one.
Okay.
With 2 or more joined together, I am there also. So you're not 3 people anymore. You are one. You are one union now. So there is no first or second wife.
So if you get into argument with one, do you carry that same energy over to the other, or it's like, no, I'm mad at you right now, but now I'm still cool with you, or does it just like cross over?
Oh, I'm carrying that energy. I'm totally kidding. No, not at all. You have to be real good at managing your energy. Absolutely, you can't take one energy from one to another. And I can say that most men probably know how to do this, and most women too, especially if you guys have been out dating. You've been dating maybe multiple guys before. You guys don't leave mad at one and take it out on the. Oh, y'all probably do. It's probably what be wrong with y'all half the time.
But we're not in the same household.
and are you? If you're mad at one, are you talking about that one to the other?
Never. No.
Come on.
No, that's a sacred relationship. No, not at all. I go and I fake it and act like ain't nothing going on.
And do they have their own time together, like their own private time, where they're maybe talking about you or venting to each other? Or?
I would hope they wouldn't be talking about me in a negative way, of course. But yeah, they have their time. They got their sister girl time. They hang out and have fun.
Sister girl.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And, I get it that, I have studied that polygamy, or some people call polygyny, mm-hmm. is very prevalent in other cultures and other countries, right? In this Western world that we live in, we are a monogamous culture. Monogamy is a lot of the times tied to religion. Mm-hmm. So I understand that there's different strokes for different folks, but I find it hard to grapple with.
No pun intended.
That's different strokes for different folks. I just find it hard to grapple with sharing so many sides of my spouse. Mm-hmm. I have to share you emotionally, I have to share you physically, I have to share you mentally. And it just feels so unnatural. And I know a lot of people who are polygamists would fight you and debate you and say, no, polygamy actually is more natural than monogamy. Mm-hmm. But maybe we are so westernized that we think that monogamy is natural. Maybe not. Mm-hmm. I know what the Bible says. I know in the biblical times, many men had multiple wives, but mm-hmm. I also know a lot of those men, it was a lot of confusion going on. Mm-hmm. And I also know that there's scriptures that say honor thy wife. Mm-hmm. It didn't say wives, it didn't say multiple. Mm-hmm. So I grapple with this whole idea and concept of monogamy versus polygamy. And I understand what one may think are the pros. What are the cons?
Well, the cons can be that confusion. The multiple parties that you bring into a relationship, it ain't more money, more problems. I'll mm-hmm. definitely say more people, more problems. Mm-hmm. So you got to make sure everybody's in harmony and they all want the same things. But I'll point out that this is difficult in monogamous relationships. I mean, we got to look at divorces at an all-time high. So when people question us and they say things like, how do you know polygamy will work or it won't work? I'm thinking that monogamy is appearing to not work simply because people can't seem to stay in relationships and take them seriously. I mean, it's rough out here. And to be honest with you, And I don't want to, hurt anybody's feelings or make anybody feel crazy, but our practices are poly. We're actually not monogamous as a people. It's a social agreement that we try to enter in. But if you think about how we date, whenever we're single, we date multiple people, and this is how we date. That's why the world looks the way it looks. That's why you have so many children born out of wedlock. We try to be accountable to our poly lifestyles by making it ways so you can have stepfathers and stepmothers, but this is children not born of the person that you marry. Mm-hmm. So it does make us polygamous, meaning that we have. So you are classifying that as,
if you are a stepfather, you are a single mom and you have a child, and then all of a sudden you meet a man, and now that man is your child's step. You're classifying that as polygamy?
Yes, monogamy is choosing one love. It's only having one. It's keeping yourself until marriage and marrying that one person and never being with anybody else. The moment that you go get another spouse, another person, that's a polygamous relationship.
Well, I thought the polygamous came in where there's multiple at one time.
No, ma'am. No.
Let me look up the definition, just because I like to look up definitions. Go ahead.
How long have you guys been in this polygamous relationship?
4 years.
4 years,
and it's working out great.
Yes, absolutely.
And how did their families feel about this?
Well, actually, from my knowledge, everybody took it well. I can't say what.
My dad would be like, "Girl, what?"
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I definitely can see that.
So their families are like, "Oh, cool! I love it. I'm here for it."
I can't say that they didn't feel a way about it, but they are highly respectable people, so they probably just not going to voice their opinions like that. But they probably would feel a way about that, being that they're monogamous and their daughters is with what they would call sharing a man or whatever. So. I imagine they would feel a way about it, but they haven't voiced any strong opinions like that.
You have a daughter?
I do.
And you'll be okay with her being in a polygamous relationship?
Sure, because I understand the meaning of it. I know it's not about, just sex or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Now, does the polygamy work both ways? What if your daughter chose to have multiple male partners? Is that okay too?
Yeah, that's a different form of polygamy. You know how you call it polygyny and things of that nature? It would be called polyamory, I believe, or it's another word for it, but it's a woman with two men, so to speak. And you're absolutely right. And some women do that. Some women actually have two men.
Yeah.
Now, for me, when I look at that dynamic, I don't see the harmony in it like I see with a man and two wives, simply because both men can't get her pregnant at the same time. She cannot give them both children at the same time. Mm-hmm. In a world where you're trying to create children as quickly as you can, multiply as quickly as you can, it's more efficient to have multiple women than multiple men.
So is that they'd have to wait. Multiply?
Yeah, to build a tribe, to start a village. Absolutely.
So I know a lot of people who practice polygamy, that is their main reason. The foundational principle is legacy and nation building, and that is technically how you build a nation. But I wanted to look up the textbook definition of polygamy, which is the practice or custom of having more than one wife or husband at the same time. So to my point, I think it's the same time that makes it polygamy, because I don't know if I could say a single father or a single mother who goes to find a new partner and have a stepchild or mother for their kid is now polygamous, because it's the same time part that I've always felt made it polygamy. So saying all that to say, wow.
Well, and that's why I say that we have relationships that make up for our polygamous nature. So of course your name is, say if you take someone who, let's take the Bible for instance, it gives us leeways on how to do marriage. It says to keep yourself until you sleep with one person, and that should be your husband or wife, right? And then it tells you until that person passes away, that's still your husband or wife. So the way to only be married again is if you are widowed. So that says that spouse has to be dead, and that's why marrying again wouldn't be considered cheating on your spouse, adultery, because your partner's gone. When you make that lifelong covenant that till death do us part, that is forging an agreement that you're with that person forever and no one else. Even if you say, we don't get along anymore, we're breaking up, we're ending a marriage, then that means that no one else, you're not supposed to be with anyone else if that person's still alive. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I guess I get it. Of course, you're asking someone to stay single forever because, or stay alone forever because the relationship that they got with didn't work. So that would be unfortunate. That'd be completely unfair to ask people to be alone like that. So of course we make different agreements. You can get married again. You can, get in other relationships and things like that. But I'm mainly speaking to how we date when we're single. We date multiple partners. You know, and that's why you get so many children born out of wedlock.
When you're single, I think you definitely date multiple partners.
It's when we're in a relationship that we say, okay, let's stop seeing other people, and I'm expecting your loyalty and all these things, right?
But it seems as though polygamy for men may be a little more advantageous or beneficial because you have two partners, you have two loves, you have two people nurturing you, two people investing in you. Or I don't know if the women, what are the benefits for women?
You get a sister wife, so it's not required for you solely to support this man and nurture him and cook every meal, to clean for him and, you know, have his back every single day like you can. You get your own time to yourself. You get to focus your energy in building your business. Your sister wife gets to build hers. You get a business partner out of that with your sister wife. Imagine like this. We go back in the day to before the Matrix. How do we survive? I hunt, you garden. Or we all hunt, we all garden, right?
Yeah.
An extra wife means an extra gardener. It means extra hands. Extra children mean extra employees. So whenever you're marrying for building a tribe, then you plan to create your own businesses and employ your family. And so the more members, the better.
Hire me a nanny.
I'm like, I can get a housekeeper.
That's needed in the village as well.
I can get a chef. Why do I need a sister wife?
Well, again, a sister wife helps to bring in more children to the lineage, helps to help you tend the garden, all these types of things. So, I mean, you could have a nanny, but a nanny don't get much out of doing those services with you and your family. It's not really theirs. It's not their legacy. So what that would do is cost you and your husband to pay a nanny now to come in and do that. Where a wife is bringing to the table part of another part of the relationship, other children and all of that.
See, for me though, a sister wife is going to cost me too, because it's going to cost my peace of mind. I don't want to share. I don't. I just don't.
I completely understand, and I honestly wouldn't argue with that. From a monogamous perspective, I always say relationships are about the people in them. So if you know that, you know, what you would call sharing or, you know, being with a man who has multiple wives or whatever would bother you, it's probably not for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it's not bad. It's not bad if that's not for you.
I just would love to get in their minds, not what they tell you, but really in their minds. Do they ever have these moments of insecurity? Like, does he find her more pretty than me? Does he enjoy her company more than he enjoys mine? I just had a baby. I feel like a big balloon because I know what it is. I have a 4-year-old. I know how I felt after I gave birth. So is he, you know, getting it in over there and I'm just over here with a baby stuck on my breast and he's not even attracted to me, or I'm not even attracted to, you know, I just feel like all these things could fester and turn into issues, turn into real mental issues. Like I'm questioning myself because of you might be, like I was saying on your Instagram, I felt I had to scroll way down to see your other wife. So I was like, dang, he sure is highlighting this one. So in my mind, I would be like, oh, why are you highlighting her over me?
I be doing both, so just so y'all know. They said that in the comments too. One of my wives is very shy, Jamie. She don't really like the camera that much, and Lacey, she's perfectly fine with being in front of the camera. So I think that's a lot of probably what you're saying. If we all three of us together, they'll say Lacey looks more happy than Jamie. It's just Jamie ain't. You know, she ain't all smiley. That's just not her personality type. So
on the show.
We gotta have a part two with the wives. So listen, you have 2 wives. You all live in one home. You have separate bedrooms. You have scheduled times with each wife. You have this wife on this day, this wife on this days, and then there's days where there's everything is mutually beneficial for everybody.
I got a house full of children, and
you have a house full of children.
We got 4 children, 3 with Jamie and 1 with Lacey.
And that is your idea of building your perfect nation.
Well, now even if I were monogamous, I still believe in creating your own business and employing your children. I call it baby bird syndrome, which is what we have with our children. Often, you know how baby bird waits for us to come home and bring it its food. Our children do this even when they're old enough to be getting their own. And because we don't actually teach them how to be part of a tribe, like if they were a wolf, they'd be hunting with us, learning how to hunt with us. And because we go to regular jobs, we don't teach our children how to access, you know, with us. So we end up taking care of our children much longer than we should be having to take care of them. They should be actually a benefit to our tribes and not a burden.
That's a good perspective, for sure.
Because the goal is if something happens to you today, how efficient is your child with taking care of themselves? And so if they're actually going out and learning how to hunt with you, learning how to make money like their parents because you created your own business, then if something happens to you, then you're leaving them something to do versus them trying to get out here and get hired by somebody, you know.
I do
or
often
with their
think,
hand out for an allowance when they're old enough now to be earning something, but they're
I
still
agree
like,
with that. Yeah. I do often think, though, when I hear men in particular have this polygamous conversation and nation building and having multiple kids and spreading your seed and be fruitful and multiply, what I do think happens, though, when there's all these kids, there's only one of you. There's only one father. And although the mother is the nurturer and the caretaker, I do believe that a father having a consistent presence in a child's life helps and aids their development. I do not think it's possible for one man to invest emotionally all these different children. What are your thoughts on that?
So the same way a football coach, a teacher can have so many different students, likewise, let's say your children magnified in number, right? Let's say you got 20 children. Well, some of them are older than the other ones, some of them are younger. So the example that you set for the older ones, they become bigger sisters and bigger brothers to the younger ones. And you're going to love them all the same. It makes no difference. When I first had my daughter, we had our son coming after that, maybe 3 or 4 years later. I was so worried because I felt like I didn't have any more room in my heart to fit anybody else. As soon as I saw my son, it was the same, you know, and it's been that way with every single child I have.
And there's how many kids now?
I love them exactly the same, 4.
4, yeah.
I love them all equally. They are very different, different in personalities and all, but I get to know them all individually. And to me, it's nothing more beautiful than spending time with my children. I believe that's our future selves. That's us in the future, and we're supposed to break all the generational cycles and curses that were before us, so our children, ourselves in the future, can have a better life than we had.
But right now it's 4 kids. But what happens when it becomes 8 kids, and then it becomes 12 kids, and then there's 15 kids? How do you invest in love and pour into emotionally, physically, and spiritually into 14 kids?
The same way you do 1. See, whenever you create your own business, your own lifestyle, you get to be with your children all the time. I'm always with my children. I don't have to leave to go to a different place to do work. I figured out a way to earn money from home. And so my life is spent with my children. We're together every day. My son, my baby boy, he writes books. I help him write his books. My son, he's an artist. He makes his songs and things of that nature. And my beautiful daughter, she has a daughter of her own. They still live at the home. They still live at the house with me. I take care of both of them.
Oh, your daughter has a daughter. Okay, so you have a grandchild. Yes.
But she's an artist as well. She's an entrepreneur as well. So basically, I just teach them all how to monetize their gifts so they can make a life for themselves.
Yeah.
And they can live with me as long as they need to. They don't have to worry about anything. So I believe that we go wrong by sending our children out into the world to fend for themselves. I believe that the place that we live in should be where they are nurtured until they can go out and buy their own place.
Is she married, your daughter?
No, she's not.
Okay.
That's why she's still my responsibility.
Okay.
So because she's not married and she's not with the father of her child, then I take care of all of them as if that's my daughter, that's my granddaughter.
Yeah.
So.
You have some very interesting perspectives on submission and what it's like for a woman to submit to her husband and actually how a woman and a man are supposed to submit to each other. And there are a lot of single women who are preparing themselves to be a wife or preparing themselves to be in a relationship. What advice would you give to that single woman in her 30s and her 40s that is preparing herself to sow into and pour into a man? What are some tools that you can give a single woman looking to be married?
Well, you mentioned the word submission. A lot of women are afraid of that word today. It sounds like something that's denigrating. That means they have to, so to speak, bow down and give up their power to a man. And that's not what submission means at all. I wish that men and women could embrace that word submission. I believe that a man is who ultimately submits to a wife, not the other way around. We are stronger than you guys, yet we have to ask for your hands in marriage. And only upon you choosing us can we take care of you for the rest of our life. No man can look forward to any woman saying, you sit down, I'll take care of everything that you need. But women can. They play their cards right. If they're soft with him, if they are inspirational to him, if they speak life into him, they deserve the best husband in the world, and they do deserve the world. It's men who look at women and want to give them the world. And because we have to ask for their hand in marriage, it's us who submit to them. Again, we're taller, we're stronger. When we request your hand in marriage, we make ourselves shorter. We get on our knees to where we're looking up to you, and we're saying, will you? And so I always say for women, submission is really truly submission to your own power. When you get frustrated with your man, don't yell at him. That's not how you get him to move. If I get frustrated with my horse, who's much larger than me, yanking him around ain't going to do anything. He's stronger than me. While he's submissive to me, I still have to be kind to him. I have to brush him. I have to stroke him. And that's how I get the most out of my horse, right? Likewise, your man is trying to take you to the end of the world. He's trying to give you everything. You inspire him, he gets faster. You build him, he gets stronger, right? A lot of times you hear a woman say, I don't believe my place is just in the kitchen, and it's not, but it's one of them, and that's a superpower that women have. Through your cooking, you can have more health, a stronger mind, because a healthy body makes a healthy mind, a healthy spirit, and all of that. So if you're giving your man healthy food and he's the one putting the food in the refrigerator, I mean, that's what you would call a healthy relationship, right? So if I always go back in the day and remove like the brick and mortar matrix we have today. If the man is hunting and he brings back the deer, the wife is the skinner and the cook, okay? And skinning and cooking that deer helps him to be able to consume that meal and have the strength to go back out the next day.
Yeah.
So the better cook she is, the more he eats, the stronger he is. But if she gets mad at him and don't cook, then he goes back out hungry. He's not going to be as efficient, you know. But your submission will get you everything in the world that you want from a man, I promise you.
So for single women, and women who maybe just want to strengthen their marriages or their relationships now, you're saying that the key is in submission.
Yes, it is. If so, anytime you're going to be in any relationship, you're asking for this person to spend their one life with you, right? Why wouldn't you submit to them? Why wouldn't you submit your one life to them? If the man is saying, I'm going to submit my utility, to my strength to protecting you and providing for you, why wouldn't you present your softness into nurturing me and supporting me? Yeah. You know, I've seen that a lot of times women struggle in the area of vulnerability, and that is speaking life into a man as if she has nothing to lose. I think so many men maybe have failed women by misusing this strength, because women often fear because they'll say it'll go to his head, right? He'll get full of himself if I tell him all of these things. But the right man will be charged with that. He'll go out and get you the world with that. Sometimes holding your man's hands and looking him in his eyes and just simply saying, I need you. I depend on you. I believe in you. That's how you get him to move. It's not, you still ain't done this. I done asked you 3 or 4 times. It's just not the way to get a man to move. And I don't think that's the way to get a woman to move. Even though a man is stronger than you don't want him demanding you. You'd rather him ask you with a soft voice, right? The scripture says a soft voice turns away wrath, right? Yeah, it's submission, because sometimes we'll be upset with you guys, with our wives, and saying it in an aggressive way is not going to do the trick, right? So you still have to stay in your man frame and say this in a way that it can be receptive to your spouse, right?
Why do you think submission has become such a toxic word to the culture?
I call them saboteurs, but it's people who input negative ideas into our communities. And honestly make people believe that submission is a bad word. And so they'll tell people or try and convince people that submission is like, slavery. It's like slavery, absolutely. It's sad, but the roles, right? And it's really the roles that we take in a tribe. In a tribe, everyone's going to have a role. And we should embrace those roles rather than saying, I don't want to just imagine a man saying, I feel like I should have to work and take care of my family. That sounds weird. Just like it would sound if a woman says, I feel like I shouldn't have to clean my home and cook for my family. It just doesn't sound right.
Sounds unnatural.
It sounds absolutely unnatural. But you hear it a lot now, though, that now to be in the kitchen is something that is denigrating for her, but to go to work is not denigrating for him. You know what I mean? So again, these are both things that both people should take on. Because I'm a man, I know that for me, when my beautiful wives got pregnant, they didn't slow down at all. I mean, I didn't slow down at all.
Were they ever pregnant at the same time?
Oh, no. I mean, that's what I mean. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, they didn't slow down. I didn't slow down at all where they did, right? Yeah. So because I have the utility, because I have the strength, I take pride in going out and winning the world for my wives. And so
I love all of this. All of this, I love. That's just I got to share. I can't get with that, but everything else you're saying, I'm like, oh yeah, I want that in a man. Like that's yeah. I just don't want to share him once I have all that.
Well, do you ever feel pressure when you all are out and you're on date night or wherever? You just maybe at the mall or at a restaurant. Do you ever feel pressure of like, okay, I know that our lifestyle is unconventional or untraditional to the world. Do you ever feel weird, or you're like, no, you stand on it when you're out? Like, no.
We stand on it. We go out with pride. We go out dressed alike. You're gonna know us when you see us.
I saw his profile pictures, him and both of his wives. I'm like, oh, he gonna put it on the profile picture. He wants you to know off the rip what type of time we are on.
Well, they want y'all to know off the rip. No, I'm just like, because it'd be like, ain't nobody else joining, because people always asking.
Ask you that. Can there be another wife?
No, there cannot.
Why?
Well, because we it's just like, say, a monogamous relationship. When you guys forge your relationship, it's built on principles and it's built on rules and a standard. So whenever we started our relationship, it was you two and that's it. So I've had many offers. I've had many TV shows try to hire me to do a show, but the goal is always that I have to be vetting for a third or something like that, and I'm like, I can't.
So what if one of the wives said, I found somebody that I think would go great in this tribe? You are not open to it
now.
Or they aren't.
I most certainly would not be against it. Okay, but
Fucking like a true man.
well, if they found someone and came to me and said they found someone that they love and want to be a part of our union, I'm sure it's not going to be a guy because they know I'm not with that, right? So I wouldn't hold them back from love. So obviously I wouldn't be against that, right?
Awesome.
So that's their rule, not yours. They're saying nobody else.
Yes, and I honor that absolutely, and we should.
You know what I love, that you guys have set a standard and you stick to that standard. Now, whether I agree with that standard or the world agrees with that standard, I love that you have set a standard and a precedent, and this is what we follow. And I think that people in general can learn a lot from that. It's like standing on what you stand on, no matter who doesn't believe in it, no matter who doesn't support it. It's like, this is a world that I created for me. These are my rules and regulations for my world, and this is what I'm doing. So I can respect that. I can respect anyone who sets a tone for their life and they follow that tone. I, however, believe in the blood.
Yes, ma'am.
A monogamous relationship, me and my husband's going to be one of him, it's going to be one of me, and that's what it's going to be. In the mighty name of Jesus.
And listen, and that's still holy and it's still sacred because it's the covenant that you guys have came to. You know what I mean? And so what we always try to say is that our goal is not to try and teach people to be polygamous like us. It's to teach people to have a harmonic relationship.
Whatever harmony means for you.
Right. The goal should be that you stay together long enough to raise your children until they're having children and giving you grandbabies, and you guys can sit there gray haired and look back at your whole legacy and see all of your children, and you guys stayed together through all of that. You know what I mean? So it's better for the children that we stick together and they have both parents. And it's better that the husband and wife have goals of working towards that greater future, not just the ins and outs of their relationship.
And just to be clear, this is not driven, just because I know off camera you just said that you didn't subscribe to a particular religion. So this is not driven from religion.
No, not at all.
This is just driven from your culture, like what you feel you should be doing. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know the comments are probably going to have a field day with this. Just accepting the idea of polygamy, I think, is a very it's a very hot topic in general. I think whether you agree with it, whether you support it, whether you disagree with it, it is a topic that gets people going. And it's interesting just to hear the dynamic of like, okay, we set a schedule, because I always wonder, like, okay, who sleeps with who, or is it everyone's together? Is this a big smorgasbord of just we're all three in the same bed?
And some are like that, just based on their relationship.
Based on what your harmony looks like for you.
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, we're out of time, but this has definitely been an eye-opening conversation. You have almost 1 million followers on Facebook. Do you think that your perspective, because you're very vocal on your Facebook, I listened to your video about deadbeat dads and what that means, and deadbeat moms, and I thought that was a very interesting perspective. You felt that if you gave your child up for adoption or foster care, you gave your child up, you are a deadbeat dad or mom, which is
based on the context.
Based on that context, but something that you said that was very interesting. I wrote it down because this was the interesting part about that conversation for me. It wasn't necessarily deadbeat. It was, you said you don't get to outgrow that. And I thought about that because I'm like, well, we've all made mistakes that we have outgrown. And if someone held us all and defined us all by some of the mistakes that we know for sure we've outgrown, or mishaps or mindsets or behavior patterns that we know we for sure have outgrown, it's like, how fair is that to say you don't get to outgrow that?
It would seem very unfair, but because there's a child out there who still needs you, who still very much want to get to know you, who needs to know the person who created them, for goodness sake, it's got to be some type of accountability to go back and take care of that child. I think I said that because the question was, if you met a guy, like say I'm 41, okay? If I were to say I had a child when I was 14 or 15, 16, like I did, 17, something like that, and I wasn't there for that child because I was too young, didn't have my head on right. And you may ask the question, well, did you go back and take care of her? If my answer is no, I'm sure you would think, a little less of me, right? I'm 41. I got a daughter out there who I do not see. And my excuse is because I was too young when I had her, but she's still out there somewhere. When I say some things you just can't outgrow, because on the flip side, we have to understand there's a child out there who didn't get you, so you didn't fulfill your parental obligation. As a person who grew up without a mother, my mother died when I was 3 years old. She didn't give me up or anything like that, but I also didn't grow up with my father. He didn't abandon me, but he spent the majority of my life, my childhood, in a marriage where he helped another lady raise her children. And I always was upset by that child gets to see my daddy every day. And that child gets to eat what my daddy eats. And he had all the best toys. With the things we asked for, it's like he had it all. And secretly, your children actually do envy you for that. When men who think that they are just, in a different relationship. So
you were more so referring to the context in which that question was asked in conversation, because you do believe in redemption. You do believe that people outgrow things and people can be redeemed of their mishaps and past mistakes and failures, correct?
Yeah, you could have went on to have a whole family and have 3 children by now. But if I know that if you were to tell me outside of your wife and the 3 children you do have a younger child that you had whenever you just didn't have yourself together, I would still try to encourage that man to go back and try to build a relationship with his child, because every person, even if they don't want you to be in their life, they deserve to know who their father is. I just feel like that's just a holy relationship that everybody should have access to.
I agree. I agree. Well, this has been a very insightful episode. If you want to hear some more of Kevin Wesley's beliefs, perspectives, philosophies, ideas, he has a bunch of content on his Facebook page. Yes, and I think that most people probably view your Facebook page because of your unconventional and diverse ways of thinking. Yes, I would say. Yeah, yes, I would define it as that. Yes, ma'am. But thank you so much for coming on. It's a Negotiable podcast. Let us know how you like this episode in the comments, guys. I know you guys have questions, comments, concerns. Put it in the chat right now. If there's some really good questions in there, maybe we'll get Kevin to come back on and answer some questions. Or do a live. I would love to. Do a live and answer some questions.
I'm going to be in the chat with them like, okay, Kevin, one more.
Let's do another build. I'd be excited to.
Yes.
I do want to say real quick, relationships are about the people in them. So don't judge me, okay? If it's not the relationship for you, it's not the relationship for you, but they are about the people in them, okay?
He said you ain't in this relationship, so it don't matter if you don't like what I'm doing, you ain't in it. It's me and Lacey and Jamie, okay?
Yeah, she's right. That's what I was saying.
So, family, as you all know, if you are part of the It's Negotiable family, we end every episode with the word of the day, because we know that life and death lies in the power of the tongue. So, Amber, take us out with the word of the day.
I wasn't judging you, Kevin, but I do feel that you are extremely resolute. And resolute is our word of the day, which means admirably purposeful, determined, and unwavering. Wow. And like Ernestine said, I do admire how you are standing on business. Yep. It's your business. Yep. And it's your prerogative. Yep. And I love that you don't waver based on people's opinions or even my looks over here like, I didn't even talk that much because I'm just all in. But I love it. I admire that you are like, hey, this is my truth. Mm-hmm. This is my life. Mm-hmm. And I'm standing on it. So be resolute in your decisions. Be resolute in your choices. And what God called for you and for your life.
Absolutely. And don't none of y'all come in the comments talking about you got a little crush on Jay Morrison, because we're only doing one partner around here, babe. It's only one partner. It's only one wife around here. But Kevin, maybe another story. But in the Morrison household, baby, don't you even try it.
Don't come over here either.
No. Yeah, he said we got enough. We got enough going on over here in the
his schedule is
his castle is full. Okay, you're your own man.
It's only 7 days in a week. I don't have room.
Right. Well, shout out to your wives. I'm sure they'll be watching this episode. Hello to you, ladies. Jamie and Lacey. Shout out to you all, and shout out to you all for watching. Happy Wednesday. Have a phenomenal rest of your week. This is Hump Day. Listen, resolute was the word of the day. Be unwavering in your beliefs. Yes. Happy Wednesday, and we will see you next week on another episode of It's Negotiable.